Hello, welcome to my drumming. This is part 21. This is a song by Metallica called Enter Sandman, and I wanted to do a Metallica song for a little while now, and it was just trying to find the right one to pick from a what can I teach, what can I play at a reasonable level, so hopefully people will learn something from it and it's not too tricky with double bass drums or anything like that from Lars Ulrich's drumming. So hopefully this is something that will help people. So we'll get straight into it because I think this is a video where it has the most patterns that I've ever done in a song. So there's quite a lot of things happening in it. Have a look at the music now so you can see what I'm talking about. And you'll see from that there's a lot of patterns to go through. Now, one of the things that I've done to try and cut out the amount of extra patterns is right at the end of the song, there's a couple of quiet bits and then the drums come back in, and it's sort of a bit like a few soloing bits at the end. There's a couple of patterns that are repeated towards the end. So I've cut the end of the song off just where it comes in with a few cymbal crashes, so it doesn't then go into the mini sort of solo and lots of fills at the end, because that would just make this video way too long for trying to teach it. So we'll get straight into the patterns now. Some of them are really straightforward and we can blast through quite quickly. So pattern 1, you'll see, is just a very straightforward hi-hat only, hi-hat beats on the third beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pattern 2 is a bit that comes in with a triplet on where beat 3 would be and then beat 4 is played. So it's 1, 2. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Just that straight the way through. That's pattern 2. Pattern 3 is the same as pattern 1, but with hi-hat beats on the 1 and the 3. So just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the actual start of the song, the build of the song happens, and this is played on the floor tom for the 8 beats in the pattern. The bass drum is played on beats 1, 3, 5 and 7, and then there's a tom on the 8th beat. Now you can play a high tom, mid tom, another floor tom, whatever you fancy. I'm playing it in the high tom just so you can hear and so it stands out, so it's not too bassy. So when I'm playing the whole song through you can hear the bits that I'm doing. So this is how pattern 4 goes. Okay. Now pattern 5 is exactly the same, but on beat 8, instead of the high tom and the floor tom, it's just snare and cymbal. And pattern 6 and 7 is the same again, but the snare and cymbal just comes more frequently. So in pattern 6 it comes on beats 4 and 8, and in pattern 7 it comes on beats 4, 6 and 8. So I'll just play pattern 4, pattern 5, pattern 6 and pattern 7 together so you can hear how they go. Okay, so it's quite quick to blast through those, but it is literally just 1 snare in pattern 5, 2 in pattern 6, 3 in pattern 7. Pattern 8 is the same as we've played before, but just with a snare drum beat instead of the cymbal. And then patterns 9 and 10 is a build as the sound comes up into the main part of the song. So it's bass drums on 1, 3, 5 and 7, but with snare drum and floor tom on all other beats. and then pattern 10 just repeats all of that but with a symbol at the end. So I'll play patterns 9 and 10 so you can see how they go. Okay, so a gradual build. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay. Patterns 11, 12 and 13 are all fairly straightforward, all things we've done before, so I'll go through those fairly quickly because we've covered them in previous videos. Pattern 11 is a straight 1, 2, 3, 4. Pattern 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. Very simple beat. And pattern 13, the only difference is there's another beat on the bass drum on beat 4 and a cymbal crash. So pattern 13 goes like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Pattern 14 and 15 is very straightforward. It's still an 8 count, but in pattern 15 I'll do first because that's slightly easier. It's just a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And pattern 14 is exactly the same, but there's a cymbal crash at the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pattern 16 is very similar to patterns 8, 9 and 10, but there's only 7 beats in it. It builds on the snare and the floor tom, and then there's just a cymbal crash and snare drum on beat 7. So pattern 16 goes like this. So pattern 17 is the chorus part of the song, and it's played loads of times throughout the song. What I'm going to do, rather than try and break down every single bar, because there's 14 bars in pattern 17, I'm just going to play the whole thing through. So have a look at the music and have a look at what I'm playing as I'm playing it. I'll play pattern 17 through for you now. Okay, I played it a bit slower than the actual song, but that's pattern 17 for you. Pattern 18 and 19 are very similar as before. We've just got a snare drum on beats 1 and 3 separated by a bass drum on beat 2. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Pattern 19 is the same but with an extra bass drum beat at the end and a cymbal on pattern 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Pattern 20 I don't think we need to do again because it's just the same snares and floor tom builds with cymbals thrown in. Pattern 21 is a straightforward 1. Pattern 22 is very similar to pattern 21, but there's hi-hat involved as well. So now pattern 23 is a part fill, part rhythm, which I'll just play through slowly so you can look at the music and see what I'm playing at the same time, and then you'll notice the bit that it actually plays for in the song because it's really distinctive as there's a guitar solo happening in the background. So this is pattern 23. Okay, I'll play it through one more time so you can just get another listen to how it goes. pattern 24 is coming in towards the end of the song, and it's very similar to bits that we've played before, but as it's towards the end of the song there's extra toms put in. So again, very similar to stuff that we've touched on previously in this video. I'll play pattern 24 through now for you, but it's high toms on beats 3 and 7, and then a mid tom or floor tom on beat 8. So this is how it sounds. Okay, and then pattern 25, again, very similar to stuff we played before. It's just alternates between the bass drum and cymbal and snare drum. So 25 is... .26 is only played once in the song, and that's in between the floor patterns that we've just done. It's a very quick high, mid, and then 2 cymbal crashes. So this is how 26 goes. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 with a bass drum on the 1 and the 3, the high tom on the 2 and the mid tom on the 4, and then separated in the second part by bass drum and snare. So it's... sounds really good when that's played at speed. Pattern 27 is just the fill that happens just after 26, and it's 3 quavers on the high tom, a half quaver on the mid tom, 3 more quavers, and then a half quaver on the floor tom, with main driving beats on the bass drum at the beginning of some of the quavers. So I'll play that through slowly. Pattern 28 is another variation on the same thing. I'll just play that through now for you. So it's snare drum and cymbal on beat 3, same driving 1, 2, 3, 4 on the floor tom, apart from when you're playing the snare, and then on beats 7 and 8 it's the toms thrown in again. So I'll play this through slowly. Pattern 29 is another mixture of the things that we've done already, with floor tom and cymbal crashes in between. This is 29. Pattern 30 is a 3 drum build for 4 beats. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, fairly straightforward. Pattern 31 is just a very simple, which is exactly the tail end of pattern 30. And pattern 32 is the final pattern, and that's just a very straightforward 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've gone through those patterns fairly quickly, and I thought it was easier to show you a lot of them rather than do the exact count on all of them. So I hope they've helped. If there's anything that doesn't make sense or I've gone through it too quickly, please ask. In the meantime, I'm going to play through the song in its entirety now. So this is Enter Sandman by Metallica. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks. Right, so as I said earlier in the video, that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to go into the run-off bit at the end of the song just because it goes on for a bit and there's a bit of sort of free format drumming, which is a lot harder to do as you're ending the song if you were playing it yourself. So I hope you found that useful. I hope you could play along and enjoyed it and got something from it. So until the next time, I'll see you soon. See you later. Bye.